The ship's security plan is not only vital to the safety of people and equipment, it's also required by law. The United States and the International Maritime Organization are requiring mariners to have security plans in place and in force by July 2004. The threat is real and growing. Unauthorized boarding, introduction of prohibited weapons, flammables, or explosives, unauthorized occupation or operation of a vessel at sea. And the consequences are alarming. Cargoes, ships, and perhaps even lives at risk. The mandate, as stated by the United States Coast Guard, is straightforward. Each vessel owner and/or operator should develop an effective security program that relies on detailed procedures clearly delineating preparation, prevention, and response activities that will occur at each threat level, along with the organizations or personnel who are responsible for carrying out those activities.
The Coast Guard and the Maritime Nation will examine, make sure you have the proper plan and documents on board related to security.
Ship security plans will vary according to the vessel, its cargo, its trade routes, and ports of call. But the scope of each ship's plan should include these basic elements. Measures and/or equipment designed to deter prohibited weapons, substances, and devices. Identification of restricted areas and measures and/or equipment for preventing unauthorized access. Procedures for responding to security threats and maintaining critical shipboard operations. Procedures in case of a security breach requiring emergency evacuation of the vessel. Duties of vessel personnel assigned security responsibilities. Procedures for auditing security activities and for training, exercises, and security drills associated with the plan. Procedures for interfacing with other vessels or waterfront security activities. Procedures for periodic review of the plan and for updating. Procedures for reporting security incidents. Identification of the ship security officer and company security officer. Procedures to ensure the inspection, testing, calibration, and maintenance of any security equipment on board. Procedures for finding and addressing stowaways and detained crew members. The counterpart to assessing risk is responding to risk, formulating responses to risk scenarios. These response measures are a critical part of any successful security plan. Remember, these are responses to risk, to a potential threat, not to a disaster itself. Although security plans must deal with worst-case scenarios, the whole purpose of risk management and threat mitigation is preparedness and prevention. Evaluate response measures and scenarios that can be built into the security plan. For example, emergency engine shutdown, alerting shoreside authorities, rendering assistance to another vessel, screening the underwater hull in response to a bomb threat, responding to stowaways or intruders. Based on the ISPS code and U.S. Coast Guard guidance, here is a comprehensive outline for a ship security plan. The plan begins by defining its purposes and objectives, the physical characteristics of the vessel itself, and the duties and responsibilities of both the company and ship security officers. Management involves periodic review of the plan, its security and control, in coordination with port authorities, waterfront facilities, law enforcement agencies, and vessel owners and operators. The next section contains the ship security assessment, all 3 security threat levels and associated measures, security actions and duties. There must be a procedure to monitor restricted areas and detect intruders, for controlling access, for monitoring deck areas and areas around the vessel, and for controlling the embarkation of individuals and their belongings. Supervision of cargo handling and of the vessel's stores is critical, of port-specific security communication, and the maintenance of a constant interface with waterfront facilities. The plan should define when a declaration of security should be used to coordinate security activities between the ship security officer and a waterfront facility security officer. Finally, procedures for training, drills, and exercises associated with the plan must be set forth. Contingency plans for various threat scenarios given, and standard operating procedures established. Both the U.S. Coast Guard and the IMO are offering plenty of checklists, job aids, and how-to documentation. Unlike a lot of maritime regulation, the security process has been designed to be relatively straightforward, efficient, and hands-on.
If I was master, I definitely would have an aggressive security plan, make sure it's in accordance with the ISPS code or their recommendation, and I would exercise this, and I will hold a regular meeting on a regular basis to go with the crew members, tell them how important it is, because security is very important in these days after September 11.
Once the plan is in place, it must be shared and communicated. It may be combined with other safety management systems required by SOLAS. Parts of it must be available to port state control inspectors. Otherwise, access should be restricted to only those with an operational need to know. It's essential that you keep records and documentation of activities associated with the security plan, your training, drills, exercises, and security-related communications. In United States ports and some other port states, officials may request a copy of the International Ship Security Certificate and other relevant information.
So we will detain a vessel in port if we find a lot of discrepancy. Anything to deal with security measure definitely will be detained. And the appropriate authority will come down the vessel to examine and make sure it's clear before they depart.
Distribution of the security plan must be strictly controlled. It contains information vital to the safety of the ship, its crew and cargo, as well as navigation routes and port facilities. Protect the plan from unauthorized access or disclosure. Treat the ship security plan as a living document, subject to continuous improvement. Incorporate lessons learned, feedback, and constructive criticism. Effective risk management requires an atmosphere of constant vigilance, communication, and teamwork. The battle against those that would do us harm on our ships and in our ports takes effort, time, and resources. But it's a battle that can be won.